I want to go over.
Sure.
And could you first tell us about your background, how you become a urologist, if I remember correctly?
Sure, yeah. So I went to medical school, undergrad in medical school in Boston, did my surgical training in Houston, and ended up coming back to New York for fellowship. I'm born and raised in New York. Here, I think the thing, and this kind of leads into why I ended up liking Breezm, is because I'm a big fan of technology. And specifically, I got fascinated with how technology was incorporated into surgery. And I may be biased in saying this, but I think urology is one of the few fields that have embraced or been an early adopter of kind of cutting edge technology. We were one of the earliest to adopt robotics as a surgical discipline. We use a lot of scopes and lasers to do a lot of the procedures that we do. So when I saw that, and it was just so different from a lot of the other specialties that I had observed, plus the people were great, so that's how I kind of fell in love with the field, and that is what I do now. And a lot of my research, even in my own interest, has to do with technology and AI and technology development within the surgical space.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. So does AI take a big role in urology?
Yeah, well, not just urology. I think AI is starting to touch all facets of medicine, and we're starting to see that there are fewer physicians for the number of patients. And some of the things that people are really hopeful with things like AI is simplifying some of the more simpler or mundane tasks in medicine so that we can get back to focusing on caring for patients.
I see, okay. I didn't know that you were born and raised in New York.
Yeah.
Wow. How was it growing up?
Yeah, I can't say I was as excited to be born in New York City, but I was raised in Albany, so upstate, 3 hours north. And I never knew I was going to come back to New York, but fellowship training brought me back to New York.
Okay.
And my wife's from the same area as I am, so we ended up making this our home for now. And
for now.
Yeah, for now.
So maybe at some point in the future.
Maybe, although she's very much in love with New York, so I don't know if that love affair is ever going to end.
Okay, it's not as much as her. In
I mean, I love New York. I think it can be, as you get into family planning and things like that, you want more space, and some that's a little challenging to find in New York.
You still enjoy living in New York?
Absolutely, right? Yeah. As much as there are headaches with things like traffic and congestion, but there are so many wonderful things about the city, about the location, the parks, the people that make it such a great place to live.
And what's the most enjoyable thing?
Well, I would say it's the fact that you could live here a lifetime. My wife always says this, right? You could live here a lifetime and you could still feel like you haven't done everything. You haven't eaten at every restaurant. You haven't gone to every event. So I think that part for people that are always on the go feel like you never get tired of the city, which is something that I can say that I've never felt anywhere else.
That's true. That makes total sense. I feel the same. It's always like love and hate.
Yeah.
In this.
Yes.
Can I ask you what your daily health and wellness routine is?
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember you also do CrossFit, so I'm a amateur competitive CrossFitter, so I dabble in that as more in the sense that it helps to kind of keep fitness, and intensity, but it allows me to kind of get a full body workout and a kind of an efficient workout. I love the collegial nature of other folks in the class and kind of the general competitive environment, which is fantastic. So I will say my day usually starts with some sort of workout at 5:30 in the morning, done by like 7, and then because I'm usually in the office or in the operating room later that day. Afterwards, and you felt like even if I've done nothing else for the day, I've accomplished one thing.
Right.
Yeah, I've accomplished one thing. Nice.
Going to the CrossFit.
That's it.
Gym.
You got to work out it.
Yeah, enough. And then
it.
you have like 13, 14 strains.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any specific tips for fellow New Yorkers to maintain their health and well-being?
I think there are so many options in the city. I mean, it could be as straightforward as just going for a walk in Central Park, all the way to biking across Manhattan, to so many of the fitness classes that are here, whether it's CrossFit or otherwise. Just find something that you like and stick with it. I think that one of the greatest things, like I mentioned before, is the people and the energy of New York. So a lot of the times, the good news is that no matter what you find, you'll probably find other people doing it too. And so as long as you find that community, I think that helps to keep it consistent.
are there any other exercise or practices that you recommend for urological, like maintaining your urological
Yeah,
health?
I mean, I think we have several people in our department that love to bike. They live on Long Island, so it's a little bit easier, less traffic. So they love cycling. It's a great kind of lower intensity exercise. I do think, maybe I'm again biased about this, but I do think some form of weight training is obviously very nice because it is also relatively low intensity, but you're still getting an working out.
Weight training?
Yeah, weight training, which is similar to CrossFit, but I would just say maybe not with the same intensity that you're doing there.
No, I think urological health is actually something that you have to pay attention when you age.
Yeah.
That I heard so many times
Oh, yeah.
from, people who are older than
Yep.
like 40, 50. They suddenly start kind of becoming a little more sensitive and things like that.
So specifically, I think for urologic health, I
Right.
would say that we're starting to see, kind of adverse conditions, whether it's cancer or otherwise, related to being overweight. So
Right.
whatever it is that kind of keeps you in shape, whether that be biking or weight training or anything else, I think those things are great for keeping the weight off. And a lot of the times, a lot of the comorbidities that associate with that, whether that's cancers or things as silly as erectile dysfunction, all those things kind of stem from just being overweight. So I would say whatever it takes you to keep the weight at a healthy weight, I think is good for you.
Oh, makes sense. What are some common health misconceptions that you often encounter, and how would you address them?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think a lot of folks, especially as it pertains to, I'm not an andrologist. My specialty focus is on cancers of genitourinary origin, but often a question that we get just by nature of being a urologist is erectile dysfunction. So a lot of times the questions we get is men asking about why is it that when we age we have this problem, and a lot of men have the impression that just because you get old you kind of don't have that functioning for you anymore. The reality is that it is not generally that just because you age, but a lot of the times it's just because there are more factors that play into your ability to obtain that factor. So certain things like your cardiovascular health, your muscle, all those things kind of matter, and just being overweight. But a lot of times what we tell folks is that the vessels that kind of help you with getting and obtaining, sexual intercourse are actually vessels that are also in the other parts of your body. So what we often tell men is that one of the earliest signs of cardiovascular disease can be erectile dysfunction.
Oh, interesting.
So we tell men that generally, like, if you haven't been getting checked to keep up your heart health and you start noticing issues with performance, one of the things you should be doing is potentially getting a heart checkup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I heard this was, conception oftentimes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, bread. Okay, and how do you stay up to date with the latest in medical research?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, the American Urologic Association is very good about pushing out publications, which has been very helpful. Interestingly enough, X or Twitter, or however you want to refer to it, has actually been very much adopted by the medical community. So whether that be journals or individual authors are really good about posting their latest findings and research oftentimes on Twitter, as opposed to like LinkedIn or other social media platforms. So believe it or not, X and Twitter has been very helpful. And then, the AWA publication.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's a good tip. Thank you so much. How do you unwind and relax after a long day at the hospital?
Yeah, so one of the reasons that I started working out earlier in the morning was so that when I came back from work, I could spend time with family.
Right.
So that to me is relaxing, whether it's as straightforward as going for a walk in New York and taking in all the sights, or having a slice of pizza with family, or just catching up with friends. I think all of those are great ways that I kind of partake with just being around people that I care about.
Got it. So when you're not working, what other hobbies than CrossFit do you enjoy?
Yeah, so I'm actually into running a lot. I just did Brooklyn Half Marathon
Oh, wow.
a couple months ago, which was a fantastic, well done race. Outside of that, I am well, my wife kind of got me into this, but now I've kind of really gotten into kind of trying to perfect pizza making. So
Pizza making.
yeah. So
Wow.
so we have really tried to work on different recipes and different sauces. So we're constantly experimenting. We're also trying all the wonderful pizza spots that New York has to offer, and trying to take some of those lessons home to make better pizza.
Wow, I'm curious to hear more about this pizza making.
It's probably a relentless pursuit of never-ending journey.
Yeah, I think I would love to, do that too. Do you happen to participate in any like community activities as well?
Yeah, so like Breezm, I'm part of the startup community in New York.
Oh, wow.
So I do go to some of the Digital Health New York events here. So that is something that we really enjoy kind of taking part of. The Urologic Association in New York is also something that we're part of, and it's a lot of the cross-disciplinary collaborations with folks just outside of New York are been great. Sometimes traveling for those meetings and those work events too.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Are there any favorite spots in New York that you like to spend time?
We love Central Park. In fact, I don't live in Manhattan, so I live in Long Island City. So if I'm going for a run, I will run to Central Park to run at Central Park. So I love Central Park. We
Every
also,
morning?
yeah.
Wow.
It's a nice run there and back, which is was always fun. I had some friends visit recently. They loved it. They had a best time. I mean, running in Central Park is really quite like running nowhere else, and so I really enjoyed it.
Every morning run and CrossFit?
No, not every morning. So a couple mornings,
Couple mornings.
Instead of one or
Got
the
it.
other,
I
depending
see.
how I feel.
Yeah.
Hopefully the weather holds up. Yeah. But I will say the other we love Soho. We love West Village. Just all these different neighborhoods have such a different feel. Williamsburg, just great place to kind of walk around and get a good bite to eat. So really not one, which is really nice. And then lately, actually, last October, we went up to Rhinebeck, upstate. It's about an hour and a half north, 2 hours north, and that was another fantastic place, especially to go during fall time.
That's amazing. Out of curiosity, how long does it take for you to run from Long Island City to Central Park?
From my apartment, it's probably about 2.5, 3 miles, so 20, 30 minutes.
That's a good run.
Yeah.
So I think it's about like a 1/3 of the Central Park run or something.
Yeah. So I'll usually run there. I'll do like maybe a mile or two in there, and then I'll turn around and run back.
Okay, now I have a few questions about your Breezm experience, and first and foremost, what made you decide to try Breezm glasses?
As someone who deliberately chooses to wear glasses because there's so many other options now with contact and laser correction, for me, my issue was that my eyes often get dry very quickly. So that's why I don't wear contacts. And my long hours, the only thing I've found really comfortable for long periods of time have been glasses. That being said, I've always struggled to find glasses that fit me well. So either they were too heavy, or if I wore them because oftentimes I'm working for 10 or 12 hours straight with glasses on, they would just feel heavy after a while, or they would start slipping. So I was in a constant quest to find lightweight glasses that fit my face and just felt comfortable all day long.
Got it.
And after going to a number of different eyeglass makers, I think it was actually social media or somehow I got talked into, I saw the Breezm ad, and I loved the fact that it was custom to my face. So I said, this has to fit my face. There's no way it can't fit my face now. And then I also loved the fact that how light the glasses are. Right? So when first time I had them made and I put them on my face, and I said, these actually not only look really good, they are like my kind of design aesthetic. They were fit and made for me, and they were lightweight. So I said, this is a win-win-win. And I mentioned to you before, I was worried initially about working out on them, and then mistakenly I had done a couple of them, and I was like, oh, these are actually staying on my face, they're not slipping around. So I said, this is fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Would you describe your experience about this 3D facial scanning and AI analysis? How was it?
So as someone who, personally am interested in all that stuff, I just thought it was a no-brainer when it said, like, of course, why haven't we done this earlier? So I think it was with you. So we went and we did the facial scan. It didn't take very long at all. It actually recommended to us, or it did recommend it to me, several frames that might fit, depending on what I liked. And then from that process, it was easy because once I picked the frame shape and the style, we just went down to picking colors and accents, and it was really straightforward. And I got the glasses in the mail. A couple weeks later, I put them on, and I was like, "Yeah, this is great."
It looks great.
Yeah, appreciate it. I decided to wear them for everybody. So.
And then you barely touch them. It
Yeah.
stays there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think you touched upon this point, but I will still ask this question. How have Breezm glasses improved your day-to-day life, if I can?
Oh, yeah. So I will say from a physical standpoint, I have less of an indent where my glasses normally sit, which is very nice.
Right.
I will say that during surgery and whatnot, it is painful and annoying sometimes to continue to keep slipping, not being able to put your head over into the surgical field because you're worried about your glasses falling down. So much so that I've seen some people put, bands on the back of their glasses, but I just can't be bothered to do that. So I wanted to find glasses that I didn't have to do that.
Oh my God.
So I very much appreciate, now that it's been almost 2 years with these glasses. I'm not sure exactly when it's been.
I think it was a year and a half.
Oh, a year and a half ago, yeah. So I haven't had to adjust these once or had to tighten them once, and they just stay on my face. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think sets Breezm glasses apart from other eyeglasses brand?
So I think the biggest thing is the custom fit. So especially if folks are having a really hard time finding glasses that really fit them or their face, or they've noticed that time and time again the glasses are just really struggling for them to stay on their face. Oftentimes it may be a fit problem, and for me, I didn't kind of realize that right until the time I kind of came into Breezm and then had this experience. I also think that if you are someone that wears glasses for long periods of time, every gram or ounce of the glasses weight matters.
I know.
So
True.
I think that if you're looking for a lightweight pair of glasses that truly fit your face, it's kind of a no-brainer.
I absolutely agree with you. And you've recommended Breezm to quite some people. Have you heard some feedback from them?
Yeah, I've heard that especially when I don't recommend it to everyone, only because some people have found glasses that work for them, and that's great. But once I start hearing that folks kind of are in a similar boat that I was in, where they were struggling to find glasses that fit, or that had issues with the weight of their glasses, I kind of take off my glasses and give it to them and said, "See, feel these, and see how light they are. These were built for my face, and I wear them every day." So I said, "You should give them a shot." And I didn't actually follow up with them until oftentimes they would show up to your store, and then I would say, "Oh, I told them that you were recommended by me, and it's worked out." So
I see. Okay.
So it's been.
Gotcha. It's great to hear that your uncle actually also, got Breezm glasses. And,
He wore them to our wedding, and he loved them. So it was great to see him.
Amazing. So, you told us that you are in the startup community as well. And do you have any suggestions for us to enhance our products and service to the next level?
I honestly think if there's a way maybe to even tap into that startup community. So many of us spend late nights, long hours on a computer screen or on Zoom calls. So many of us are also wearing glasses. So I would say, and I think that appreciating, like one of the other benefits was that having you sit down and talk to me, talked about what you guys were building. There was some level of kinship. So I think even just marketing to that community, which there is so much of that community here in New York, I would say that's definitely a place to start.
Got it.
I also think that in the healthcare space, anybody who wears glasses for long periods of time is going to take benefit to Breezm. So I would say tap into the healthcare community too. I think those are great places to start.
That's a great idea. What strategy do you think a startup like Breezm to have to adopt to be more known in New York or in the US?
Yeah, it's tough. New York's a competitive space. I think first thoughts, I wouldn't think about AI facial scanning for custom glasses. So I think it's going to take a little bit of an education jump for people to say, oh, these are truly custom glasses on par with some very higher quality glasses, because I think the glasses market in the United States is, as you know, is dominated by Luxottica,
Right.
and big companies like that. And then you've got kind of these upstarts that are building, shops like Oliver Peoples and Warby Parker. So there are folks that are kind of spending, clearly have a willingness to spend for custom glasses. But no one has been able to kind of talk to the custom facial scanning. So I think that part has to come out more to people.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, I think people are just going to get confused about
Right.
what the identity is. And I think that is so valuable, as I experienced, that I'm sure that many, many people will benefit from.
Totally, totally. You mentioned that you hope that Breezm can be more engaged with the healthcare community.
Sure.
What is some like actionable way that you would recommend?
Yeah. I think you could kind of subdivide that community into. You could talk about like providers or physicians and practitioners versus just the entire healthcare community. I think you could kind of figure out a way to do almost a top-down approach where you find surgeons or eye physician ophthalmologists who are recommending Breezm, starting with that as an inlet, custom frames for those, for them. Another option is surgeons wear loupes, and when we wear loupes that have the magnifying glasses on them, the actual loupes have to fit our face perfectly because we're wearing them for 5, 6, 7 hours. So is there a way for Breezm to kind of start working in that space for the surgical loupe space? Maybe just even start working with physicians and say, oh wow, my loupes fit better than my regular glasses. Do these guys also make regular glasses? Then you can say, of course we do. And that's another option too.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Wow, all these great ideas. Oh my God, so you are my first podcast guest, and I think it went very well. Thank you so much
of course.
for your time. And do you have any last comments that you want to share?
No, I wish you guys the best of luck. I wish you guys keep growing, and I hope you guys keep penetrating into the all the different communities, and hope to see you guys in a lot more places.
Thank you so much.